16th, 2026 council or county council meeting. Can I get the meeting called to order, Madam Clerk?
It's moved by Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor Fraser, that the meeting of the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry be hereby called to order.
All in favor? Motion's carried. Moving to the adoption of the agenda, Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor St. Pierre, seconded by Councillor Bergeron, that Council approve the agenda as amended. And through you, Mr. Warden, before you on your council table today, members of council, there is a notice of motion being put forward by Councillor Gaydon and Councillor McGillis. We'll add that to item 12 of the agenda.
Thank you. Is there any other addition or omission from the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Item 4, the adoption of our previous minutes.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor Broad, that the minutes of the meetings, including the in-camera minutes of the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry, held February 17th and March 6, 2026, be adopted as circulated.
Thank you. Any comments or questions in regard to the addition? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. So there's no delegation. Moving on to our action request in regards to planning 6.4 for Alto high-speed rail proposal. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Manley, seconded by Councillor St. Pierre, that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry direct staff to submit comments for the Alto high-speed rail proposal, reflecting the need to work with SDG and local municipalities to maintain and enhance existing rail services, address impacts to municipal infrastructure, enter into community benefit agreements with directly affected local municipalities, and work closely with emergency planning and response personnel.
Thank you. So we have Peter that will speak on this, and then I can take questions, if any. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Warden, and thank you, Council. So as Council is aware, we had the Alto high-speed rail group come to County Council and the local councils as well prior to starting the public consultation process, which has now begun. They've shown a preliminary corridor. The actual right-of-way is much narrower than that, maybe 60 meters, something like that, but the corridor is taking out quite a large area, including part of North Glengarry. So we attended the public consultation and with some other interest groups, and I believe it's more likely the corridor would go through the Prescott-Russell side. That's more kind of the feeling, but still could be impacts to SDG, even if it's not located in our municipality. So if we're to submit comments on behalf of SDG counties and county council, I had those 4 points in there, making sure that they work closely with Via Rail on the long-term stability of that service, both through North Glengarry and through the southern part of the county. And if there's any crossings or any part of the roadway, detours, things like that, to work closely with our public works departments. Engage in community benefit agreements when there's affected municipalities. As you may know, there's not going to be any stations between Ottawa and Montreal, so it's just a corridor without some of those extra benefits of having a station. So that's one of the concerns. And then the emergency response, if there is ever an incident, whether it's in the SDNG or not, we'll definitely get called to any large-scale evacuation or crash, so just to work with our first responders and emergency management planning, which, as the Ward knows, we already do work with the rail companies on that as well. So happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor? Go ahead, Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you. Yeah, I know there's a great concern in the ag community as well, that it's going to cut farms up, and it's not going to be like the traditional rail where you can just have a crossing, a farm crossing. I'm quite sure that it'll be fenced, and there'll be no crossings except at roads, likely because of the speed. So there's quite a concern that it's gonna carve up quite a few farms. So I don't know if we can maybe make some comment toward that at least. And I'd heard somewhere, I don't know if you heard anything, that maybe portions of it would be raised. Is that something they mentioned at the meeting? I wasn't able to attend the meeting.
Yeah, they weren't going into that level of detail at this stage, but definitely there's different options, whether in some countries it's much higher, just to avoid doing all the bridges, just have one continuous kind of concrete structure that's located on, but they're saying that's probably further on they'll get into that level of detail. But you're correct, yes, there would be no grade crossings, including private ones, so people would be cut off if the route goes through your property.
Any other question? Councillor St. Pierre.
Yeah, thank you. I just noticed in your report, and yes, we should be considering the Via Rail corridor as well, but I'm just wondering if we have reached out to Via Rail in any fashion, and if not, if that's something we should do as part of our presentation or our comments as well.
We have not, other than through MP Duncan when they were looking at adjusting the Cornwall station, so we can definitely follow up in regard to both Alto and Via hopefully talking to each other and planning together, so I can include that in our response.
Thank you. Go to Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Peter, Mr. Young, were they understanding the gravity of chopping up farmland, separating communities, dividing municipalities? Did they seem to be concerned about it, or were they conveying the idea that they had a plan and the plan is going to be great and it's going to work well? My discussions with some of the ag people in North Dundas, it's untenable how they're going to manage. How are you going to get a hay wagon? How are you going to get a combine? How are you going to do that? How are you going to get? Because these are things that concern all of us, I do believe, in this room, and I'm fearful that those common sense thoughts are not being interpreted in a fashion. Thank you.
Yes, and just through the warden, definitely the goal is to use existing corridors where possible. Like the Prescott-Russell Trail was one of the ones that was potentially talked about. But to get those, yes, they did acknowledge to get the straightaways and curves that they need for high-speed rail, that is one of the trade-offs, yes. Drainage was another one that North Glengarry raised as well in the consultation, because there's already difficulties enough with the rail companies and trying to address drainage, and this creates whole new problems by just having a straight corridor as well.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. And I think it was Councillor Broad who brought this up at one of the other sessions, but I think we also want to recognize the potential for economic impact in the area, given the fact that it's probably going to draw people away from the existing corridor that passes through the lower half of our municipalities now. I think we want to keep an eye on that as well, and just to recognize that that has a potential for impact on the economy here as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? One, if I can add, so when you mention about emergency services, even though the corridor appears where it'll be up more north into Prescott-Russell, the shared services where we often see a County of Russell ambulance in our sector, and I'm sure it's the same thing. So the talks definitely would have to happen to make sure that our shared services with EMS throughout county mergers would be something that we need to look at. And last, it was also brought up with the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, which also is on the discussions. Myself and CEO Adams are going up on Thursday, Friday, and which I think the caucus can see all of Eastern Ontario, where we're running right from Montreal crossing into Prescott-Russell, Ottawa, and working their way towards Peterborough. So that's something that will be in discussions that can be brought back to the for discussion at our later meeting. So with that said, seeing no further questions, are we accepting a resolution? Yes, we are. So all in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to our tenders and quotation, item 7-1 or point 1, the Cass Bridge Rehabilitation Tender Award. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor St. Pierre, that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry accept the tender from Clearwater Structures for the Cass Bridge rehabilitation at their unit prices totaling $3,577,018.20 plus net HST, and that Council provide the Director of Transportation Services the authority to sign all documents to give effect to the contract.
Thank you. So we have Matt to speak on this morning, and then I'll take questions from the Council. Welcome, Matt.
Good morning, Warden and members of County Council. The report before you today is for the recommendation award for the rehabilitation of the Cass Bridge. This one is one I'm excited to share as it's a good news story and positive step towards getting major work completed on one of our priority structures. The bridge was originally constructed in 1971 and is in a 3-span structure approximately 70 meters in length. Cass Bridge is located on SDG 31 north of Winchester Springs and is very much a connecting link between North and South Dundas. The 2023 OSIM inspection flagged the structure for priority rehabilitation work. In early 2025, staff released an RFP that was ultimately awarded to Stantec to begin work on the study. During the subsequent investigations, the structure was identified as requiring a major rehabilitation. The study confirmed elevated chloride levels in the bridge deck and a large volume of surface delaminations that required repair. Once the chlorides began to reach the reinforcing steel layer, they caused the concrete to separate from the steel and for the rebar to start degrading. The proposed rehabilitation includes a large scope of work, including full deck replacement, conversion of semi-integral expansion joints, barrier wall replacement, strengthening of the existing girders, and a host of other work along the way. Staff released a competitive bid in early February that closed with 7 interested bidders. An interesting bit of information is that Clearwater Structures was the low bidder and same company to complete a major rehabilitation on the identical structure spanning the South Nation River in 2023 near Chesterville. Pricing reviewed on this tender was below the engineer's estimate and well within the budgeted dollar amount for the 2026 capital budget. The project is planned to be completed over 2 construction seasons due to the large volume of work. The tender dates expect an early May start, but may slightly vary once conversations begin. A 3.5 meter traffic lane will be maintained throughout the construction seasons, with 2-lane traffic being reinstated at the end when the barriers are removed. So based on the information provided, staff is recommending award to Clearwater Structures. With that, happy to take any questions from council.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Fraser, and then I'll go to Councillor Bergeron.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'm just wondering, Mr. Warden, I'm anticipating that our communications department will be weighing in heavily on this to make sure that people are well aware of the challenges that we'll be facing, all the commuters and other industries. And that's my comment. Is just I need to be able to say that it's going to be a challenge, and I look forward to our communications doing the excellent job that they typically do to make sure that everyone's well aware or has the opportunity to be aware. Thank you. Thank you, Warden. Thank you.
Going to Councillor Bergeron.
I just want to confirm if what I read was correct, that during the winter, when they're finished in the fall, it will be open to the 2 lanes all winter long, and then back to 1 lane in the spring for the next season.
Yes, that's correct. So at the end of the year, we'll pull the lights, we'll pull the barriers. There's very much an end of stage 1 scenario where we kind of get everything all level so that the plows can maintain properly and we can kick life back to normal for a short period of time.
Good. Thank you.
And I'm not sure, Matt, what is the winter season? So are the anticipation of when to close and to reopen? Do you have an estimated?
It's kind of looking like it'll be, original estimate was going to be a 10, 11 month schedule. It did kind of change as we got further down design, but we're thinking we'll be reopened kind of end of October with a May start. Now, I mean, the sooner the contractor is able to kind of get out of there and demobilize, the less they're spending on kind of all their indirect costs. So I think the goal is for them to kind of get in and get out as fast as they can each season.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to 2026 Microsurfacing Tender Award. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry accept the tender from Duncor Enterprises for microsurfacing on various county roads for a total tender price of $381,079 plus net HST, and that Council approve change order 1 in the amount of $113,603.20 plus net HST for a combined total award cost of $494,682.20 plus net HST, and that the Director of Transportation Services be authorized to sign all necessary documents to give effect to the contract.
Thank you, and good morning, Dana.
Good morning, Council. This report is requesting Council's approval to award the 2026 microsurfacing tender. Microsurfacing is a cost-effective preventative maintenance application that extends the life of asphalt roads and helps preserve the road network. 2 bids were received, with the low bid from Duncor Enterprises at $381,079 plus net HST, which is within budget. County Road 3 was included in the capital budget, but was excluded from the original tender as a cautious step due to potential AC index uncertainty. Once favorable pricing was received and the tender came within budget, staff requested pricing for the addition of County Road 3. Contractor confirmed pricing based on the same unit rates in the amount of $113,603 plus net HST. The total microsurfacing costs, including contingency and net HST, remains within the approved 2026 budget. Staff are recommending that council approve the tender and associated change order.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Broad.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dana. Director, through the warden. Although it's a small amount, which, and it fits within the current year budget, through your warden, we still haven't seen last year's audited budget numbers yet, so we're not really 100% sure where we finished the year. And we took that precaution at the time to ensure that we had the finances in place. So far in 2026, the Pinston Creek Bridge has come under budget. The cold in place and the hot mix tenders have come under budget. And as you heard just a few minutes ago, the Cass Bridge rehab has come under budget. But we also are going to see a report where we're overspending in other areas, especially winter maintenance. And with the cost of fuel prices, the AC indexing could be at large this year, could be something we may be considering. Although this is a small amount and council should, consider it, I really think that we need to not spend it. We are taking, for roads and bridges in 2026, we are taking over $1 million out of reserves and only transferring back $500,000. We have a good opportunity to pass that savings back to the taxpayer. We also have an opportunity, as Councillor McDonald has talked many times, we aren't putting any away money for our buildings, our salt buildings that we know are going to be coming up. So I think we should consider it and have a conversation about it. Although it's only $133,000, so I appreciate it's a job to get done and we should pass that. But I think overall we shouldn't come back with more ass until we have the 2025 budget audited and approved by us and know where some of these other costs are going to come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you. Just a question for Mr. Grant. When would we have to decide this? Could this be, could we wait until we see some numbers for 2025? And if you spoke to them, obviously, and this is their quote, is this quote good until they start the work? Just kind of a timeline that we'd have to know before we made this decision.
Yep, through you, Mr. Warden. Yes, we do have some time. So the change order would not need to be approved immediately. The contract will extend, or the completion of the work, substantial completion is to be by the end of September. So we do have some time in that we can make a decision based on the 2025 budget, and there is no set timing on that change order, provided that we get an answer to them as quickly as possible.
Thank you. I likely ask this very similar question when we come up to County Road 2, so just so you're ready.
Go ahead, Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Mr. Grant, my concern, I think I'll just be echoing what's been said, is the AC price index with all the unrest that's going on and the challenge that we faced a couple of years ago with that challenge and how it caught us so off guard, and the amount of time that we needed to spend to make sure we got it right. And I'm fearful that it will be worse this time, and when is it going to stop escalating, or if it hasn't started escalating already? And I really do appreciate the question from Councillor Lang about waiting a little bit for, I think, all of our benefit to understand the challenges that we're going to be faced as we move forward. in this environment right now. Thank you, Mr. Warden.
Thank you. Any other questions? So we do have a motion just again on the words that were brought forward by Councillor Broad. So it is a big factor when you look at transportation. The big ticket item is fuel. Everything's tied to it. And I think with the uncertainty that we're right now in, I think it would be prudent to possibly consider at least Councillor Lang's predicament. So I'll have Madam Clerk, if you can reread the motion.
There's a motion to amend the main motion to remove change order 1, and it reads that the microsurfacing motion be amended by removing the approval of change order 1. It requires a mover and seconder.
Moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Williams.
Okay.
All in favor?
And then,
Motion.
thank you.
Motion's carried.
And then back to the main motion, we'll vote on that. It's the same as I stated, except I've taken out the change order 1 wording. So it's moved by Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the United Counties of SDG accept the tender from Duncor Enterprises for microsurfacing on various county roads for a total tender price of $381,079 plus net HST, and that the Director of Transportation Services be authorized to sign all necessary documents to give effect to the contract.
Okay. Any questions on the first part of the motion? Or seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Just out of curiosity, Madam CEO, when do we usually expect the audit report to come out? I'm not asking for a date, but just a sort of a timeline.
I'm going to refer to Mrs. Russell. She's ready to speak.
Our audit is scheduled for the last week of March, and we normally present it in June. We are coming along very, very well with the audit numbers. We are just waiting for some city numbers to come in, and then I should be bringing a reserve report to the next council meeting as well.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our bylaws in regards to fees and charges. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor Fraser, that bylaw number 5525, being a bylaw to adopt a fees and charges bylaw, be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed.
Thank you, and I'll pass this on to Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. This is the annual fees bylaw update. Typically, it's just adjusted for CPI. There's a few changes related to planning and also a different fee structure for tourism that are detailed in the report. Some fees up, some down, some just adjusted in how they're being charged. So I'm happy to take any questions from council.
Thank you. I'll go to Councillor McDonald and then Councillor Densham.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Warden. I just want to highlight the streamlining of the planning process, and that costs less. It's nice whenever we can give the same service for less dollars. In this case, do you have anything that can be shared to our lower tiers that can make us also have these streamlined efficiencies in planning?
For a lot of these, thank you for the question, through the Warden. So for a lot of these, we are working with the local municipalities specifically. An example we had before was the part lot control process. So it used to be paper bylaws, 3 copies, drive them down to the county office and do this. And we've worked with the local municipalities to now just do all digital signatures, and turnaround time's gone from 1 or 2 months. And it's also delegated to staff as well to, almost the same day or 1 or 2 days. So definitely, yeah, we do try to kind of partner up and save time, because a lot of them, there might be a process where they're at the local municipality first too. So definitely pass those on as well.
Go ahead, Councillor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and thank you, Peter, for the report. I think it's good to keep on top of the fees. I'm just wondering if you can talk to us a little bit more about the introduction of the new flat fee on the ecological reviews. Just a little bit more context and information around that, and specifically, if and how we partner with any of the CAs on any of that type of work.
Yes, definitely. Right now we work with actually both Raisin Region and South Nation. We second one of their staff to help us out on some of these more complicated ecological files. Our manager, Lindsay Parisians, worked really closely with local municipalities, the CA staff, and really developed a very streamlined process where if there are environmental features, it gets caught right away. And then we offer instead of doing a full, let's say $3,000 study, if there's some expertise we can use locally just to work with the landowner, we've developed this process. So what we found, so originally was included in the overall application fee, but certain properties, they really needed to do a site visit. It couldn't just be a desktop exercise. So this would just reflect that whoever's, has that application would have to pay that instead of everyone paying, all the applications paying for it. So definitely been a very successful partnership with both conservation authorities, Raisin and South Nation.
Okay. Quick supplemental. So thank you. I think it's a good partnership. A couple of things. One, we just heard that the CA fees have been frozen again after the fact. So I'm hoping that we've kind of factored that into the equation. And again, I think it's a good partnership. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Any other questions? I just have one, Peter. So talking about the new flat rate of $350 for ecological reviews, is that dealing with, just to get my mind, is that through the consent application, or is that for a different, like say if somebody wants a severance created on one of their properties? So where does that $350 fall in line with that flat rate?
Yes, typically it's the severance process, usually only for new lots that are near a provincially significant feature. And a lot of them, a lot of the landowners we work with don't want to cut down the forest. They just want to, carve off an area for an acre out of the 50 acres for a house. So a lot of times it can just be done desktop, but sometimes it's, the spot for the house is right where the significant woodland is. So just requires a site visit, screening for species, and then this helps to offset the fee. Again, I'm really proud of my staff and the partnerships we made, because it does save people a lot of time and money compared to, just do a report sending around. So I think it's working very well.
Perfect. Thank you. So seeing no other questions, let's, all in favor, sorry. Sorry, Council, did you want to just end? Okay, all in favor? Motion is carried. You have a question? I'll grant you the question. Sorry about that, Councillor McGillis, so go ahead.
It's okay. Thank you anyway. Peter, the unevaluated wetlands, is that part of that equation in terms of the Conservation Authority coming up with these new rules that we have to, in the event that we might have wetlands and we don't have wetlands, but it's up to us to do an environmental impact study to prove that there's not wetlands there. Is that part of that, say, discussion, or is it just the insignificant wetlands itself?
We don't ask for that as part of the severance process, no. For the unevaluated, their province has a new process that individuals can request evaluations and hire someone to do that, so we're staying out of that.
So with that additional information, I'll just put it through again. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Moving on to our consent agenda, Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor St. Pierre, seconded by Councillor Bergeron, that all items listed under the consent agenda section of the agenda be received for information purposes.
Thank you. Any questions or bringing forward? Seeing none. All in favor? Motion is carried. And now moving on to our boards and committees. I'll get to start. So it was a busy month. As we all know, at our last meeting, we started the process for the recruitment of our new CAO. So first of all, I'd like to thank all the candidates that did put their name forward, and also council for coming up through this process. And I would like at this time to welcome our new CAO, Mr. Jamie Fawthrop, to SDG. So Jamie's start date will be on June 1st, this coming June 1st, 2026. So, and with that said, that will be the new start of our Adam CAO's new venture into retirement. So congratulations, Maureen. Second, on February the 18th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce in Mooresburg along with MP Duncan and Minister Quinn. We also, after the meeting, or after breakfast, I took the time along with CAO Adams. We met with Mayor Broad and CAO Dahan just to basically go over their upcoming events and projects that are happening in South Dundas. So I really enjoyed just the fact that not really seeing the stuff happening in the West. So I think that was a very beneficial meeting. So thank you for the invite, Mayor Broad. I had the opportunity to attend Sand Road Sugar Bush's first tapping, along with some members of our North Stormont Council and Minister Quinn, and had a wonderful breakfast while I was there. So anybody, it's a tapping season is starting. So if you had the opportunity, go and have some pancakes. On March 7th, I attended the Chrysler Hall for a welcome greeting to nearly 40 of our firefighters. So the reason I'm bringing this up is it was held in Chrysler, but there was real excitement because we had firefighters, just under 40, so 38 I think, were taking their rookie course, and it was firefighters from North Dundas, South Glengarry, and North Stormont. So the collaboration, and I think it's something that there's value here just around the table to have these discussions, because any kind of training that can take place, joint training that can take place, purchases that can be made, joint tenders, this is something maybe that we can just work together, and it's just the benefit of having that upper tier for having 12 members of our local municipalities sitting around one table would be something I think that can be grow upon. So that was really nice to see. We had our joint liaison on March 12th with the City of Cornwall, basically just getting a briefing on all the operations for Provincial Offences Court, our paramedics, human services and housing, as well as the Glen Store Dun Lodge. Trying to see here, I attended, so I had an invite from Mayor Fraser. So North Dundas hosted the first regional robotic skills competition. So it was held at North Dundas. I think a few of staff were there that came and seen this. It was not there when I was in high school, so times have really changed, but I'd like to congratulate the Brockville Collegiate Institute and the Glengarry District High School came out the winners, and I guess they will be representing us in Toronto at the next level. So it was a busy month, and last, as I mentioned earlier, on Thursday, Friday, myself and CAO Adams will be attending the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, and hope to have some good discussion there. So that's for the warden. Moving on to our joint liaison committee. So I'll get and I'd like to maybe take this opportunity to, as we sat in on that meeting, we got a chair that was appointed. So this year, every meetings are held so we jumped from Cornwall to here. So this year it's being held in SDG building, and we have a new chair in Councillor Lang that will be chairing those meetings. So go ahead, Councillor Lang.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden, and through you, I'll just kind of be brief and go through some of the things that were covered. Court services, our fine revenue continues to decline, as Ms. Russell has told us it likely would. City of Cornwall's share 99,000, our share 138,700 approximately, and if it continues this rate, it won't be too many years, maybe next year or the year after, we'll be kind of break even or maybe starting to go the other way. Not sure what we can do about it, but anyway, it's something to be aware of. Paramedics, I'm just going to read a couple of things here because I don't know if I want to try to put it in my own words, but so the paramedics recently participated in a clinical study evaluating methoxyflurane. I may have that pronounced wrong, but it's a fast-acting inhaled drug to address pain, and it can give the patient's pain relief in 3 to 4 minutes. So it's something that's very, handy and useful in the field. It was a successful study, so we're going to start using that. Our paramedics will be starting to use that in 2026. Ministry of Health has endorsed a new patient care pathway for Cardinal and SDG known as Smart Transport, where paramedics sometimes do not have to then take the patient right to emergency. They can deal with the patient and maybe direct them in an alternate path, but continue to follow up so that it kind of helps our hospital have a little less. And another thing that was kind of interesting is one of our older ambulances coming off front lines with over 600,000 has been repurposed as a I don't know if you want to call it how did they word it, a display vehicle, but for events, public relations vehicle is how they worded it. So that'll be kind of nice that they don't have to take one of the frontline ambulances out of service to go to these events. They can use this one. It's going to be set up for this all the time. Housing service, the subsidized wait list for housing is holding steady just over 600 with quite a few days of wait time to get in. I think most people likely are finding something else before they get there. The active homeless list dropped in January to 31 from 45 in December. Possibly weather, people are finding other places. We're not sure on that 100%. We have 176 daycare spaces not utilized, mostly because of staffing challenges. The capacity is there, but staffing is an issue in the daycare system. Ontario Works, our caseload is increasing. Since October, it's gone steadily up. We're at 2,165 right now. And the Glenstore Dunn Lodge, I won't say too much because likely Councillor Broad will have a report afterwards, but recruitment is going well. I think they were looking for approximately 3 full-time and 24 part-time. So that's kind of what we discussed that day, and I don't know if the warden has anything to add.
No, I think you covered it quite well, and no, the collaboration with the city is just nice to go over. They've got competent people in place to run us through all of our joint services. Moving on to our library board, Councillor Broad.
Sure, thank you, Warden. Appreciate the time to speak with the library. A few things to highlight everybody on. Director Luck has been traveling to all our council meetings and sharing what's been going on in your own local libraries, as well as talking about the marketing and communication plan, which is in our newsletter for this month. Other than regular business, we had a meeting last week in Ingleside, and we did our regular business. But one of the highlights I'd like to mention is we've started a board legacy document, and it's a document that talks about over the years what our achievements are, our challenges, what our marketing plan, strategic plan is. Twofold for the board to have as a history, but really interesting how we talked about for the next committee of council, how it would be an excellent tool to use to describe on board potentially new members to a board, whether they're the ad hoc members or the committee of council. Something I'm going to take to the Glenstore Don Lodge meeting, which is this Wednesday morning, to mention the same thing, because the whole onboarding with new council could be interesting, and to have some history behind that would be really good document that's part of the board meeting minutes, not just an ad hoc. With that being said, we did read our book and had our questions on a couple next door. This month we're reading Broken Country, so it's our newest book that we're reading. But most importantly, I want to talk about, we had a delegation like we do at every library meeting. We usually have a staff member talk about what's been going on in the branch. But this time, the staff member, Linda, I'll just use, Linda's her name. She's been working at Ingleside for 29 years. And when she got the job 29 years ago, it was the best day of her life. She wanted to work in the library, and 29 years later, she loves working in the library. And for her community, she's the hub. She's the hub. People want to come to the library. She shared a story with us where 15 years ago, a young child would visit the library with her parents, had moved away, moved to Japan, I believe, married a fella. And when she traveled back home, she brought her new husband to the library to meet her librarian. And that's how much of an impact Linda has made in her community. And I just wanted to share that story that, they are the hubs, and these librarians and the folks downsize, the part-time workers, make a big impact to our community. So congratulations to Linda, and I thank all the folks that work in our library services that touched the hearts of our community residents every day.
Well said. Thank you. Moving on to the Police Service Board, Councillor McGillis.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Yes, we had a interesting invitation through Todd Lalone. His name is Graham White, Police Services Advisor, Inspectorate of Policing. He came and gave us an update on the overview of the safety Community Safety and Policing Act, which was in 2019. But the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 came into force April 1st in 2024. The CSP, I'll give you just a little quick information on what this whole discussion was about. The CSPA is currently a legislative framework for the delivery of policing services in Ontario and replaces the Policing Services Act, which has been largely unchanged since 1990, as I mentioned. The nature of policing and community safety has significantly changed in the past 30 years, and there were increased calls to update the modernized Ontario approach to policing and community safety. So through the CSPA, in its regulations, the government established a modern and robust legislation framework that addresses the evolving nature of crime and safety expectations in Ontario. So the regulations are one of the Solicitor General's priorities, and I'll give you the three things that made a demonstration in terms of that act. Demonstrates respect for frontline policing personnel in the communities they serve by building the right supports and fair process to enable police to effectively perform their duties and ensure community safety. Number two, strengthen the public confidence in policing, community well-being. And the third one was deliver in quality, efficient policing and policy oversight. So it was an interesting discussions, and there was a lot of questions. And I'm glad that he came to our board and explained a lot of things that we were unsure of at the time. I know that Martin said it was very educational for him too as well. Martin, did you want to maybe add a little to it?
Thank you. No, I think you've pretty well covered it, but I did, it's nice when you get a speaker come in and you learn things, and I did learn things, so appreciated it very much.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Eastern Ontario Health Unit, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. The February 2026 meeting, we approved the 2026 budget with a 1% increase. With regards to the flu and COVID, flu is down, but COVID is up. This is as of February. The OPHS, the updated Ontario Public Health Standards, are not currently being implemented by the Eastern Ontario Health Unit because they're waiting for direction from the ministry before implementing. The health unit is busy rolling out the federal dental program, which is very good news, and as well looking to help the health teams with providing primary care. We don't really have any particular details on that at the moment, but Dr. Paul spoke about that. And then increasing support for addictions in teens through a project called Project STEP. That's all I have. Do you have anything to add, Councillor McGillis?
No, I think you covered pretty well everything except for the, the board members asking to make sure that the websites are updated at the municipal level so that anybody wants to know if they qualify for the dental. They can look on the websites if they're updated there. So, if you go back to your townships and make sure that you ask them, is there any updates to the website so that the community and the public can look at it and find out if they do qualify for different things. And he also said that the Hawkesbury office, the new one, is doing quite well, and they're getting a lot of people asking for dental services there. So it's great. Things are happening there. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, anything with Glen Store Dunn Lodge, Councillor Broad or Lang?
Yep, just Councillor Lang mentioned continuing the recruitment of staffing. Next meeting is Wednesday morning, so next meeting I'll have a full update on the lodge.
Sorry, I thought Councillor Lang, I see here it's Jamie, so I apologize, Martin. Moving on to St. Lawrence River Institute. I see that Councillor Gaindo's not with us today. He sent his regrets, so I'll move on to the Raisin South Nation Source Water Protection Committee. Councillor Bergeron.
No meeting so far this year, but there's one for April 14th.
Thank you. Councillor Fraser, in regards to municipal advisory Algonquin land claim. Seeing none, moving on to the regional incentive program. Councillor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Yes, the application window closed March 13th. We're in the midst of trying to organize a meeting then to review all the applicants. And I will say, just because the window's closed, it doesn't mean that businesses can't continue to work with their economic development officers. Often the municipalities have their own CIP programs, and sometimes, depending on your project, it could take as much as a year to do that. So I would encourage businesses to continue to work with their EDOs, even though this window or this phase of the RIP is closed on March 13th.
Just to clarify, so is this the only intake for this year, or is there one that's deemed for later in 2026?
Generally speaking, it's one per year, but it depends on just what the uptake will be and whether or not we see some cancellations later in the year. So we do leave the contingency open for a second intake, but it often depends on the outcome of the first meeting and as the year progresses, what happens.
Perfect, thank you. Let's make it a battle, see which township comes ahead in the asks. Moving on to Rural Education Committee, Mr. St. Pierre.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. We have not had a meeting yet this year, but I look at Chair Manley, who is obviously a welcome replacement to Councillor McDonald. Maybe he could arrange a meeting in the next month or two.
Thank you. Moving, Councillor William, anything with Social Development Council? This week, thank you very much. Martin, anything with the SDG Forest Working Group? Seeing none. And last, in regards to Border Mayors Alliance, Councillor Broad.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. Briefly, had a meeting 2 weeks ago. Most of the discussions around bridges, specifically the bridge in Detroit that's not open yet, but also conversations around just bridge traffic in general, especially our two bridges, that connect us, and the lack of volume, and then how that's affecting budgeting and the good old taxpayer that's picking up the balance. So conversations, we're having another meeting in the next month, so I'll give an update then.
Thank you very much. So that does it with our boards and committees. Moving on to
excuse me, Mr. Ward?
Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Fraser.
I just have a one question that, well, many questions, but one question I want to make sure I get good information on. And Councillor McGillis talked about, as well as Councillor Williams, about the health unit and the federal dental plan. And he talked about communication, Councillor. Is there communication that we can receive from the health unit? Will they be distributing it to the local municipalities so we can do exactly what has been suggested, that we get it on our websites, as opposed to me trying to generate it from what I've heard today? So if you could ensure that happens, and then we'll be able to follow through on the communication that you're suggesting we do at our local levels. Thank you, Mr. Warden.
Go ahead, Councillor McGillis.
Yeah, Councillor Williams and I brought it up often enough that where we were asking to get in touch with all the municipalities and making sure that they understand all the criteria under the dental program. And to make sure that when somebody, from your community wants to look into it, they can go to your website. So they said they would contact the municipality and make sure that, they have the proper information, so they can put it, whoever looks after your communications can put it on their website and make sure that all the information is there and it's accurate and correct. So Dr. Paul is the one that stated that. So hopefully that's being done. If not, I'll ask. Right? It'll work.
Thank you. Before we go to Keys information, I'm looking over at Councillor Fraser. I apologize. I brought up the fact that I attended one of the events at North Dundas District High School, and I thought I was going to get to you to say a few comments. Did you want to maybe add to that as a first event of robotics taking place in the Upper Canada District School Board? I think it's worth if you want to add something to that.
Well, thank you, Mr. Warden, and thank you for the opportunity. It was an exciting day at North Dundas District High School, and to see youngsters from grade 7 through grade 12 participating and doing things, as you suggested, we hadn't seen in our time when we were high schoolers. But the energy that was in the space, there was multiple arenas, if you would, where these robotic competitions are taking place. And I was thinking back to whenever I was young enough to be in high school, and how there was all these little cliques and separations of students. And this robotics challenge, it took the youngsters that had technical skills, it took the youngsters that had computer skills, it took the youngsters that had abstract skills, and they were all working together. And it was such a wonderful thing to see this in action, and to see it was almost self-directed. They followed the rules that were expressed by other students on how the event was going to take place. And credit goes to Scott Curry, who organized that. He's a teacher at North Dundas High, organized the event. But it wasn't like a regimented, strictly run by teachers. It was an event run by the students. The communications, the electronic communications, the scorekeeping, the running the results, announcing the results. It was a beautiful thing to see all these kids doing this with such enthusiasm and such focus. And I trust that it's going to continue and not continue in SDG, and this is the challenge that we on the Rural Education Committee have, is trying to ensure that what goes on in SDG is supported. And I think this is an example of what initiative of an initiative that needs to be supported by all of us, and we speak about how this needs to take place on a larger scale right across our United Counties. So thank you for that opportunity to talk about it. It was a wonderful thing, and congratulations to Brockville and to Glengarry District High, and but congratulations to every kid that was there doing it. It was an impressive day. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we will move to our key information. So moving in with our 2026 road resurfacing remaining funds. So I'll ask Mr. Harper and Mr. Grant to come and speak on it.
Good morning, Council, and thank you, Mr. Warden. So as you likely recall, at the February meeting, we did award our hot mix and our recycling tenders. There was some conversation about a road that had been deferred from a past budget, County Road 2, and this report is just looking for some guidance on whether we would like to include that as a change order in this year's sort of capital plan. And so looking for some guidance, staff can certainly provide our thoughts and our suggestions on whether or not to include this in the work. But happy to sort of hear council's thoughts and if they want to offer any suggestions on what we might do with that surplus. Totals about $452,000.
Thank you. I'll take questions from Council Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you. And I'm obviously the one that brought it up last meeting and would really like to see that section of County Road 22 done, but I'm going to ask a similar question. How much time do we have before we have to make that decision? Because I am in agreement with Councillor Broad that I'd like to know a little bit more where we stand as far as last year, and you know, we're all concerned about the AC index because price oil is going up, and I suspect that AC index is tied directly to the price oil. So,
through you, Mr. Warden. So staff have not reached out for an actual price for this work at this time. The work can be completed provided we do have the funds and before snow flies and plants shut down. So we do have that. The timeline is until snow flies.
Any other question? If I can add, there's only one that always crosses my mind is every time we seem where let's wait a year because we're not sure. Well, the savings that we get, just that extra cost seems to tack on. So every year it just seems like the cost of tendering. Now, mind you, I'll take that back because the last few we've had have come under budget, but we often see where if we look at 22, County Road 22, when it first started, we had numbers that were quite more elevated after 3-4 years of waiting. So seeing no other questions, is there comments? I see Cameron.
Yeah, the other thing I might add too is I believe it was December we were presented with our asset management plan. As part of the asset management plan, there's that target technical level of service, which is our average pavement condition. Currently, we are exceeding our target level of service. and I just wanted to relay that information so that council can make a decision on whether or not we use these funds in 2025.
Perfect. So there's no, this is just key information for us, so there's no motion or resolution coming out of this. Before we move on, any further question? Two gentlemen, seeing none, thank you very much. We will move on to our winter maintenance cost, and I believe Mr. Harper is still sitting in the chair, and Mr. Baker will join him. Welcome, Trevor. Yeah, sorry. I apologize. So there is no motion, but we would like direction. So do we have, Martin, did you want to follow up with your request and just make that?
My direction, I don't know if everyone's in agreement, would be to bring this back to us when we have 2025's numbers and, you know, a little more information for us to make a decision. That's my recommendation.
And is that something that we could possibly get some information back April, or are we looking farther than that for the administration to bring this forward?
Yeah, so I think what we can start to do is we can, if there's interest in paving the road, is we can get what the numbers look like for a change order from our contractors and bring that back to council. Depending on the timing, typically our paving's done a little bit earlier in the season, so if they do have to come back in September, the change order might be a little bit higher on a unit, strictly on a unit rate price. But if there's interest in it, we can certainly reach out quickly and try to bring that back. If that's sooner than later is preferable, but we can pave, as Dana said, right until the snow flies. So,
thank you. I'll go to Councillor Bergeron and then Councillor St. Pierre.
Thank you, Warden. My only question is, could you also tell us, when you come back, the percentage increase due to the AC index from last year? So we have an idea that when you give a price, we can add at least the percentage that was last year, but we know it's probably going to be higher because of what's happening in Iran right now.
It's a little bit difficult because the AC index is posted for the month, and we don't necessarily know that until we're at that month. So if we'll know in, say, when we start paving in June or July, what the index price would be at that time, but we can't necessarily say in September it'll be this price.
Oh yeah, but I'm asking, what was the? You must have the average of what it was last year. So that we would have an idea going forward, and it would be more coming.
We would typically, we anticipate, I believe it's roughly 20%, but we do build that into our budgets, and so we can do our best guess, but when it comes time for the month, that's really when we'll know more. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor St. Pierre.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. And just to add on to that's unfortunately the uncertainty we face, is because you just can't do a percentage. It is really directed to the fuel. If fuel goes up to $1.70, $1.80, $1.90 for that month, and that's the time where they pull that tender together and do the actual work, and it's based on actual work. You could still pull a tender together, but when the work is completed, that's when they calculate the actual AC. So and I think that goes with the flavor of there's so much uncertainty of what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to know where the direction we're going in, to be quite frank with you, until August, September. So I think if you're going to ask for cost and a change order, I think it should be based on probably an August, September start as a worst case scenario.
So just to show where I support, I can agree with waiting for it, but I think having the information as best we have, so that whenever we get the information from finance, that we can take a decision then. So I would recommend, not recommend, but I would support getting that information, and then whenever finance comes back with whatever money it is in that order. So we have the information, then we have the information, we take a decision. So I'm on board with waiting for that situation.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, but all I'm saying is set it up that it's an August or September construction start date, not a June or July.
So any other questions? Seeing none, I believe that Madam Clerk has a motion, and I'll look at the two gentlemen at the end of the desk over there, and you can nod if you agree with what. So go ahead, Madam Clerk.
It reads that staff be directed to transfer the remaining resurfacing funds to the Now Needs Reserve at year-end for future capital considerations, subject to favorable year-end results in the Transportation Services Department.
Is that broad enough to cover what we've discussed here, Cameron?
Yep, I think so. And what we can commit to is bring another future report back with some costing, acknowledging the fact that it will be dependent on where that ACE index ultimately falls, right?
Perfect. Thank you. So just to get a show of hands, all in favor of the motion? So we are moving this one? It's not just a direction? Okay. So moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor McGillis, and all in favor. Motion's carried. So moving on to our SDG roadside tree planting program for public input. Maybe I'll I apologize for that. So let's move to our winter maintenance cost. Again, it's Cameron and Trevor. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. So this is just sort of a report to inform council on some of the 2025 expenditures related to winter maintenance. We were over budget. I think anecdotally, we all kind of recognize that 2025 was a hard year. Typically, these sorts of things have a way to work themselves out where you may have some months that feel harder and are more draining on resources. And then the next month sort of levels out. So 2025 was a bit maybe of an anomaly where what we saw was sort of October to December, though, you know, our plows were deployed sort of constantly. And there's a lot of overtime incurred by staff. And so our total deficit after sort of the suggestion to pull the $300,000 from the salt stabilization reserve, the total deficit was around $1.45 million. And so I guess what we're looking for is a little bit of direction on yes, we can use at the year end. So for the year end, we can use the $300,000 to sort of cover and offset some of the costs from that salt stabilization reserve, but also kind of inform county council that 2025 was a little bit harder in comparison to the last 3 years. Typically, how we budget for winter maintenance is we do look at the last 3 years and we average that out. But as I said, this one was a bit of an anomaly, and so that'll be reflected in the year end. So.
Thank you. So, seeing the winter we've had, I don't think anybody was waking up Saturday morning thinking of how much snow we were going to get, but it was a lot more than what I anticipated. So with that, any questions or comments to direction to our public roads? Councillor McDonald.
I'm okay with using the $300,000 for winter. I guess it's salt because it was probably to do with that. And I mean, we had a true November to December winter, so nothing you can do about that. We have to provide the service, and I'm okay with whatever ends up in the year end because it's a service we're not going to say no to.
Any other questions? Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you. I'm just wondering whether the 3 years is a long enough outlook, and whether or not this 2025, what that's going to do to the 3 years outlook into the future as well, and whether or not we need to look at that. Again, maybe 2026 is going to be the same. This is the uncertainty we have with the weather, and it feels like, especially with last summer's drought, that we're starting to feel some extremes more frequently now. So I think we want to try to, again, from a budget perspective, it's all about smoothing the curve. So if this is time to relook at the way that we project out forward, it may be a good time to start thinking about that.
Any comments?
Yeah, it's something we can certainly look at. Generally, on the operations side of things, we are looking at a longer window of a 5-year kind of trend. But with winter specifically, we've kept that tighter to a 3-year window. And what that does is it keeps those anomalies, if you will, within your range that you're looking at. So previously, we were able to go on the actuals of the last 3 years when we were doing budget at the end of the year. Now that practice has led to a little bit of a forecasting for the first year, but that would be the finish of 2025, which will now, going forward, will be the actuals for two more periods of budgeting. So because weather is so volatile, I believe that the 3-year window is the correct window to keep it from inflating a budget. If this 2025, for example, was to stick on and we're using that in our averaging all the way out to 2030, chances are we're going to be asking for maybe too much, which, we're obviously trying to be responsible with the amount we're asking for on an annual basis. The 3-year window has worked well for us for a decade at least, without having a major overage like this. But as Director Harper explained, it just was a case of, if everyone recalls, last year at this time, February, March, April 2025 was an extremely busy end of the winter for us last year. And the start of this winter, November, December, was also very busy, falling in the same 2025 budget year is where it got us. For council's information, kind of at this point, looking at as of March 1st numbers, typically on that average, we're about 60% spent of our budget. This year, we're closer to the 70% mark. Last year, that was that very, very busy period. We were 90% by March 1st. So we're in a better spot than we were last year, but all those numbers are really kind of irrelevant until November 15th comes around, right? So to date, we're about 10% over what our average expenditures are at this point. We've also maintained or completed approximately like 15% more kilometers, which, to put that into real numbers for council, is about 30,000 kilometers over what the average is. So that's where we sit for winter as of where we're at right now.
Thank you. Any other questions? So I think that this one here, do you have the direction that you were looking for? I don't think there's no motion, and Rebecca's nodding, so good. So I don't think I need anybody to carry this one, so we can move right on to the SDG Roadside Tree Planting Program, and I will let Maureen lead this one.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. So on our agenda this morning, we have also a petition regarding our roadside tree planting program. We have had multiple emails from individuals that have asked for an opportunity to come forward and have a delegation to speak to council, generally in support of the roadside tree planting program. So similar to the Committee of the Whole meeting that we held back in early February, we're recommending that probably would make sense to have another Committee of the Whole meeting to allow other individuals to come forward to be able to speak to council. I think what we would want to do is similar to the meeting we had on February 9th. Staff will work with voices in the community, and maybe we will find one individual or one or two individuals that can come forward and speak to council. So if that is agreeable with council, then we will proceed to start to plan a meeting. And if council would like to do that, then I think what we would like to try and do this morning, if possible, is also try to determine a date. And so we'll look for direction or questions from council first, and then maybe we can look at a date.
Thank you, Maureen. So if I can start, through the Committee of the Whole meeting that we had, where the farming community was, I just want to make it clear, speaking for myself and I think for many of members of council, this was not where some emails came in saying, "No, we're eliminating the tree program." This is not the case at all. I think the discussions were had where we want to communicate clearly with our partners to make sure that everybody's aware of where we stand. So right now, I strongly believe that maybe a Committee of the Whole, just to get that second delegation and county council can hear out. Before I go to question, Cameron, is there more that you would bring back a report as well for that? Or right now, are you just waiting for direction with council?
Yeah, through you, I think right now, we'd be waiting for council direction. I do think a future report is certainly needed as to some possible considerations. One of them being, the added consultation. I think we've spoken to that and committed to that certainly in the future. But yeah, we can highlight some options for council. But after, I would suggest that it'd be after the second committee, the whole meeting, if that were to take place. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take questions. I'll start with Councillor Densham and then Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. It's an important topic, and the public are wanting to contribute. I think we gave one side of the story the opportunity to speak, so I agree with the fact that it would make sense to hear the other side. That said, I think the real detailed discussions need to happen in the Agricultural Advisory Committee that we suggested as well during the last session. I would really like to see that accelerated and get that committee struck so that when the parties can come together within that Agricultural Committee, what we can do is try to ferret out exactly what are the decisions that Council really needs to make. To Councillor Williams' point at the last Committee of the Whole meeting, many of these items can actually be resolved just through discussion. And so if we can whittle it down to what are the critical few final decisions that need to be made, I would rather see a committee of potentially people who are far more well-informed than I am on the topic get together and like I say, bring those points down to the critical few items where council needs to make a decision. So I'm open to the idea of holding another committee of the whole. But again, what I'd like to see is that Agricultural Advisory Committee get together so that we can really focus on what are the key contentious effort or decisions where we have to engage council to support.
Thank you. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I quite agree with Councillor Densham's sentiments on this. I do believe that we had a consensus around the council table that we all certainly value the tree planting program, and because there are some very real issues related to road safety and snow blowing and that kind of thing, and I don't think anybody around this table is turning their back on the program here, and that's not the intention. But it's very clear that there are some issues with the program, that those need to be fleshed out, as Councillor Densham said, excuse me, with the right minds around the table. And although I think public input is always important, another public meeting, we're not going to be making a decision on, okay, are we going to keep the program up and running when we know that there are some concerns related to the program that need to be addressed. So I'm not sure at this point in time, until we've had an opportunity to address those concerns, that another public meeting is really going to make that much of a difference at this stage. I think we are all in agreement that the program is important. The question is how do we make some potential changes to it that are going to address those concerns? And so, I don't want to be backing this horse up here when we really need to be moving forward on creating that agricultural committee and putting all of the good minds around the table from one side and the other, and then addressing those concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Going to Councillor Bergeron and then Councillor McGillis.
Thank you, Warden. I agree with Councillor Densham that we did hear the agricultural side, and we should give the opportunity as a committee, as a whole meeting, to listen to the other side. As I said at the last meeting, the bottom line is we want to prevent drifting on the roads in the winter. That's the bottom line. And so we did receive emails, I received emails from, even from farmers, from the public, that really want the program to continue. And I think, yes, that we should be planting trees. And, you know, we have to come to some consensus of how to do that. And in my mind, I think the program should continue. And maybe for those farmers that really object to having trees along their property, they would have to put in place alternate measures to prevent drifting. Because the bottom line is, we want to prevent winter drifting because it is a hazard in the winter. And so on the first point, I think we should have another meeting as a whole to listen to the public so that each side has had their opportunity to voice their opinions.
Thank you. Councillor McGillis.
Thank you. I also received quite a few calls and emails as well. And there's a lot of interest in this issue here right now. And I think that we should look at having another meeting, and it'll demonstrate that council is listening to both agriculture concerns and environmental community interests as well. So I think it's only fair that we hear both parties and to see, before we make a decision, we make the proper decision. And as other council members mentioned, that there's a reason behind why some of council members wants to see this happen or not happen. But I think after we get the information, that we'll have a better understanding how to make the decision and what to do.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor McDonald, and then Councillor Fraser.
Okay, I'll take some advice that Mayor Fraser, Councillor Fraser said to me early in my career was it is nice to be heard, and sometimes that's a big thing. So I'm kind of in favor of having that committee of the whole. I don't know if you'll agree with me on that particular part, but I take your advice keenly here. As we've heard from, we'll say, instead of saying the larger landowners, we can hear from the smaller landowners just to keep some politics out of it. But I would like to see that meeting in the evening. I know we typically meet in the day. I wouldn't want the ag community to meet late April or May. That wouldn't be a fair time for them. And I think it's not a fair time for many of your small landowners to meet during the day, just because they're likely at work. And I wouldn't do the same to them, being the ag community during reaping or sowing season. So that's just one thing I'd like to do if we do have that committee of the whole.
Thank you. Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Yeah, we did have a great opportunity to hear a lengthy be brought up to speed through a lengthy discussion about the challenges that the ag community faces. And to be fair, we do need to make sure that we have safe roads. And we need to have good communication. And one of the things that was brought up that stuck clearly in my mind, my time as a firefighter, is driving a bigger piece of equipment and sight triangles. And, you know, simple conversations like that we need to be more open, or maybe we as the corporation be more open to the idea of ensuring that farming can take place in a safe manner, large equipment can enter the roadway in a safe manner, and understanding the challenges that bigger equipment and bigger harvests bring to us, to all of us. But we also need to be mindful of the people that commute to work, commute a length. Sometimes some people, if I think of people from South Dundas commuting to downtown Ottawa, they're probably on the road for an hour and a half. And the bulk of that would be traveling through SDG. They need to be able to get to their business, their work, in a safe fashion. Because if they're impeded, their income suffers as well. So we need to be open to understanding the challenges as we were open to understanding the challenges from the ag community. We had that opportunity to hear from the ag community, and we definitely need to be able to hear from those others that have concerns about traveling the roads within our county so that they can get to hockey games, visiting family, or to work. It's important to them, just as important as business is to our main industry, which is agriculture. So I'm more than open to whatever is suggested if it fits my calendar, to having another committee of the whole meeting to hear those comments and to hear the concerns expressed. Because as we learned from listening to the ag community at the most recent committee of the whole meeting, it's important to understand their challenges. It's important for them to have that opportunity, and thank you for reminding me of that. It's important that we do as we're supposed to do, listen to the public and take public input. And I'd rather not stymie that. So I'm very long-winded about it, but I'm very supportive of the idea of another committee of the whole meeting to ensure that our public, both ag and residential, get a chance to express their opinions since we've opened this up. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to Councillor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Mr. Warden, I just want to be really clear on this because many of the emails that I have received on the other side of the discussion are farmers. So I want to be careful that this isn't a agricultural versus residential issue. I don't think it is. I think fundamentally people are seeing that this decision has impact in multiple ways. And so I think we want to be careful not to paint this as agricultural versus, because I don't think it's that way. And that's why I believe in the Agricultural Advisory Committee, because I believe that farmers talking to farmers can probably come up with a really good plan. And I think we have, like I say, good agricultural smart people on both sides of this who, when they get together in a room together, can probably strike a very good recommendation and a good balance here.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you. Appreciate the chance to comment. I believe that when we ended our other meeting, our other committee of whole meeting, if I got it right, we've put a pause on things till we gather more information, and I think this would be a way of gathering more information. So I'm in favor of another committee of whole meeting, but I also would like to speak strongly to Councillor Dencham's point that we get this Ag Committee up and running, and I think it's good for the committee maybe to even potential future members, I guess, maybe hear what the other side. I do want to caution myself, as this Councillor Densham said, to try to make it one side against the other, but as the county's trying to figure out a better way to do this so that everyone can be served. So I'm in favor of the meeting. I would like to see the Ag Committee thing get up and running, because we've said we would pause it to gather more information. Let's gather some information and let's keep moving forward with this.
Thank you. Any other question? So I have three comments. One, I think it was mentioned a couple of times, we do need fairness. So I think we did have a committee of the whole. We listened more to the one side of and I think it's just fair to have another committee of the whole meeting for the purpose of getting a balance. Second, to the comments made by Councillor Densham, to strike the committee sooner than later. I think right now we deal with three different county federations, and just to get a voice, how we're all thinking, I did receive multiple emails from the farming community that is supporting the tree program. So it, like as mentioned, it's not just a set in. So all that said and done, we're listening to both sides, but last is I want to listen to the gentleman across the table from me at the other end here. We have our road superintendents. We probably have over, I think it was mentioned, over 100 years of experience. We also have to look, our mandate is to keep our roads safe and to do everything we can in our power to. So the report coming back from Public Roads is great value for council. So there's three entities here, but I think if we work together, as mentioned with the Ag Committee of the whole side of things, that's what we're looking at, giving good direction and moving in the proper fashion. So, and my last comment is I really like the fact that Councillor McDonald mentioned about doing an evening Committee of the whole. I have a lot of red in my agenda here, so I was trying to see, okay, when can, so what's the appetite of, first of all, Maureen, when are we looking at, do we have timelines that we want to hit? And second, what's the appetite for council to do possibly a 6:30 or even if I can do a late afternoon, but I'll bring it up to the floor. Maureen.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I would recommend that we try to, in an effort to keep everything moving along in a timely fashion, I would recommend we try to find a date in early April if we could. If we're going to move to an evening meeting, then I think we'll need to just make sure that we're staying clear of multiple local township council meetings as well. And if we wanted to, maybe if we wanted to pick a start time, what we could do is we could then, from this morning's meeting, we could take it offline and take a look at multiple council meetings and try and hone in on a couple of dates that we know staff are available and should work for the townships as well. So would council like to see a start time of like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 5 p.m.?
Okay, I'll take suggestions, so I'll start with Councillor Fraser, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. You could just say that guy. I try not to be too selfish, but it really does open it up to Councillor McDonald's thoughts if it's in the evening for me, because I work until 6 p.m. So a 6:30, 7 p.m. start works for me much, and then it opens up my days off throughout midweek. It doubles the opportunity for me to be available if it's a later start, if it is an evening meeting, and a 7 p.m. or a 6:30 p.m. start really works well for me. That's just my thought on that. Thank you.
Any other suggestion, Councillor Densham?
Yeah, that sounds like a good time from my perspective, and I would suggest the week of April 6th to 10th is probably a good one. It's right after the week of OGRA. So some of us who are attending that, and then we're not delaying it too long if that works for people's calendars.
Any other suggestions? I think that 6 to 10, if there's a date that can work in there, and I was going to say 6:30. How about if we make it 7, but ready to start at 7, so that by fact to be here at by 1:45, which should give Tony. But does that work if Maureen puts out an email to council in that week of the 6th to the 10th and with a 7 o'clock start?
Through you, Mr. Warden, I think sometimes we have some council meetings on the 8th, but on the 6th and the 7th? Oh, sorry, 7th? Tuesday, April 7th?
It's open?
Yeah. Tuesday, April the 7th at 7 p.m.? Okay.
Tuesday, April 7th, does that work?
Yep.
Does April 8th work? No? South Under. And then I know on the library board is the 9th.
And we have ours on, but we're free as well. So I think, is the 7th good with everybody, or do we need to go by poll by email? Put hands up if you're good for the 7th at 7. Majority is good, so good. So let's put it down for April 7th at 7 o'clock, and it will be here in council. Maureen, perfect. Thank you. And last, key information, I'll direct it to Maureen again with the administrative updates.
Not a whole lot of an update this morning. Just provided a summary of some of the activity in February. And then we have a couple of key dates coming forward. So we've got County Council meeting on April 20th and May the 19th. Many of you will be at the Good Roads Conference on March the 29th. And we wanted to make sure that everybody still has the date saved for the Warden's Golf Tournament on July the 10th, which will be held at the Upper Canada Golf Course. And then we're still doing some ongoing recruitments, primarily student positions at this point in time. And that is the extent of my update.
So I'll put it out Kim, so if any members maybe reach out to Kim if there's interest. Oh, sorry. That's ours. So for the Prescott Russell, I think there was an invite for theirs on June. Was that sent to all of council? No. So possibly we can take it offline if there's any of you that are interested can talk to me. Thank you. So Moving on to item 13. No, sorry, we have now the new item that was put on in regards to Councillor Guindon's notice or motion. So, Madam Clerk.
Yes, through you, Mr. Warden. Today, Councillor McGillis is bringing forward a notice of motion on behalf of Councillor Guindon. It's printed and on your desk. It's in regard to the Ontario Land Transfer Tax regime. So this is just being introduced as a notice today and will be added to the April Council agenda for Council's consideration. Thank you.
And I believe Councillor Guindon, with his experience in the legal and house closing, is well aware of especially the new homeowners trying to deal with buying a new house and dealing with that. So that will be welcome at our next meeting. Moving on to item 13 in regard, is there somebody to speak on? So we did receive a petition for the roadside tree planting program. Yes. Just for consideration, Madam Clerk, is there anything to add to that, or
No, through you, Mr. Warden. I'll work with the groups that have submitted the petition and emails. We'll get them scheduled in, forming a group to speak at that committee the whole meeting. Thank you.
Presently, it's on our agenda, so all council is aware of the... Good, so I guess there is no close. So moving on to the ratification bylaw. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor St. Pierre, that bylaw number 5526, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. And last, our adjournment.
It's moved by Councillor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Broad, that council adjourn to the call of the chair.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried.